Hi, Rajeshwari. It's an absolute pleasure to have you here on this episode of My Slice of the Sky. A huge thanks to you.
Thank you, Bashari. I think it's my pleasure too to be here. Thanks a lot for giving me this opportunity.
Great. It's always nice catching up with you, and I've been seeing your career. Your career trajectory has been great. Can you share a bit about the journey and how you reached your current position? And don't worry, we won't judge you if it involves a lot of coffee.
Not at all. I think my career was, I wouldn't say that it was very dramatic. It was very simple. I started off as a management trainee almost 23 years ago
Mm-hmm.
in a public sector undertaking. And today, after 23 years, I see that I'm the head of finance, or as the
Mm-hmm.
world calls it, the business unit CFO for a particular division
Mm-hmm.
in Siemens. So it is what I did was just to do my best at every stage that I got in. So I after every 3 years, I would go back to my boss and say, I need something different. Maybe these roles could have been better or have taught me a lot to implement the next role. So the next role got better with the previous role because of my
Mm-hmm.
learning. So I kept on learning and reinventing in every role and in every opportunity that I was given. So that's a simple career journey. I started as a management trainee, moved on to organizations, and just asked for more work and did my best in the role that I was given.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good, good. Actually, yeah. I mean, I kind of fully resonate with that. Ask for more, enlarge, build in the learnings of the previous one, and then move on again.
Yeah.
And talking of an organization, navigating these power structures in an organization sometimes feels like playing chess or maneuvering through a maze with not one but many minotaurs. What are your tips, and tricks?
I think power is a word that mostly has a negative connotation. And
Mm-hmm.
I I can also look at it from a positive connotation. That's what I've learned through my career. Power, generally, people say that it is one person influencing the other or many, right? So it could also mean to say power is the capacity to change or capacity to take action. But whatever said and done, the organizations, and it's not just organizations, right, Bashari, it's also in family, in institutions, there is power. And power could range from being, coercive, controlling, to very participative. It could range as a spectrum. So what I have done is, I think it's important to use personal power. And I've realized that when people are in this coercive and controlling continuum, they are probably coming from their positional power, and their personal power could be very limited. And in those places, when I have to use personal power, it takes a lot of energy. It's, of course, a choice that I have to make. And they come with a notion that fear will drive results. But on the other end of the spectrum is participative power. There are people who would come to say, come on and let me. There is a lot of charisma that's involved. And I've also seen leaders who've done that to involve in decision making. I mean, they are very self assured. And I've learned a lot from them as well. And with them, I don't have to use so much of my energy in personal power because, like the saying goes, right? Power begets power. These participative leaders have been very, very taking us along. And then, although they are very secured in the place that they are, they would also take us through. So, for me, it was important to know where is this person coming from? Is this coercive, controlling, or participative? And based on that, of course, I have navigated my own, it is about my own stance that I take and to make conscious choices. Is this a power that I want to really, win over or just ignore and move on? Some power, acting against some power is not really the battle that I wanted to choose. But with someone, I would really take a stand. I would say that comes from my own personal grounding. and I would say my own thoughts that come through, and I would also try to understand why that person um, particularly used that way of navigating through the situation. So there's no one straight answer. I would say it depends on what the other person is using. But the crux for me is personal power is so much more needed. That I, as a person, needs to be grounded. I need to really know which battles to choose, which to let go, and then to say, if I have to fight for that battle, what is the stand that I would take? For me, it's always to look at the other person in the eye and talk to them. So I would never consider myself as one down because the other person is coming from a particular position or status. Basically, all of us are human beings, right? So
True.
that's how I navigate the power structures.
Yeah, I get it. And as you said, all of us are human beings, and and we go through life, and sometimes we have those moments when life throws us a curveball. Have you ever experienced a personal challenge that made you feel vulnerable? And how did you manage to keep your career on track despite it?
Yeah, I think almost 8 years ago, most of them know that I'm a single parent and I adopted my daughter. And 8 years ago, there was no adoption leave. Maternity leaves were very different. So it did have an impact in my mind. It was more of internal than external. I'm saying this because I've had wonderful support from my organization, from my manager, and my family. But what I went through was, would my career take a dip? Uh, or would I be missing out on things that I would actually be doing if not for this? But I must say, yeah, at that point, it was a very vulnerable situation for me. But with my coaching and mentoring that I took on, I got to a place to say it's okay if my career takes a dip. And it's okay if I am not able to do whatever I'm supposed to do. Because at that point in time, bringing up my daughter was more important. So my manager was very supportive, and being very open with her also helped. So I don't know if my career took a dip because I never reflected on that. But that was a situation where it was vulnerable, and I navigated by really talking to people, understanding, getting coached, and being very open to my manager and my family members about it.
That's really great, and kudos to you for I have always admired this decision of yours. And wonderful having parents like you. This has been a wonderful, a fantastic conversation. Thanks a ton for sharing your insights and stories. You really made this episode shine. More power to you. Thank you.